So citizen development is a kind of phrase that's becoming more popular as organizations are beginning to understand that they just can't use third-party developers. Developers are too expensive, and so on and so forth. So they need to begin to use these types of platforms to kind of bring that skill in-house and put the tools on the desktop of the people who live the problem, so they're the best people to solve the problem.
This is the Business Owners Smashing It Online podcast for entrepreneurs and business owners looking for cool online tools, apps and strategies to make business easy online. My name is Nick Cree and I'm your host. Each episode features a guest expert demystifying the online universe, sharing inspirational ideas and providing tested real-world strategies to help you get the most of what's available online to grow your business today. Don't be a slave to your business, get your business working for you. Subscribe now and get some great content and ideas for you and your business today. All right. Now is the time in the evening where I get to sit back and relax. Well, actually, I probably won't be relaxing. I'll be taking lots of notes and I'll be enthralled in this because there's always more to see. We've got a guest speaker tonight, Huw Pryce. He lives on the Gold Coast. He is the founder of Kzen8, which is a no-code app. One of the things that Huw had found is that lots and lots of organizations use Microsoft and Excel in particular. So like large organizations are using it. People leave the organizations and resign for whatever reason. They've created some great systems on a spreadsheet and they're the only ones that know about it. So there's no real way of actually handing those off in a way that sort of other people can decipher the formulas that are in behind it. So it's a bit of a problem in the industry, and Huw's found a way around that with his app. And the thing that he's really focused in on is making it easy for everybody. So you don't need to learn a coding language. You don't need to have any sort of specific knowledge of formulas. It just works. And so he's going to show us through that tonight and how it works. So I think at this point here, I might just hand over to Huw to take it away. So let's give Huw a big round of applause. Welcome to the stage.
Thank you, Nick. You're awesome. I love it. I like Podcaster. I'm just going to book up my slides as well here. You'll notice that my logo was not made on logo.com, but perhaps one day we'll change it. I hope everyone can see that. I'm just going to take you through why we kind of built Kzen8, what problem we're trying to solve, and then also we're going to show you what that means for you. Because actually the reason we built Kzen8 is not for our own benefit. We wanted to do something that can help people generate money for themselves, either by saving money through organizations or by making money from our platform. So the whole point of Kzen8 is to help other people make money. We want to be the guys that just sit in the background. One of our key values is be the guide, not the hero. It's all about us supporting the people that use our platform. So why did we create the platform in the first place? Well, the main reason is because after 40 odd years of working and developing software systems for businesses, and I'm also a qualified chartered accountant, I trained as an accountant in the UK, it became pretty clear to me that the back office systems of most businesses suck, frankly. $5 trillion a year is wasted on back office inefficiencies. And to me, this is the main reason why businesses just fail to really reach their true potential. The little picture there just demonstrates a lot of people go into business because they think it's going to be fun, and they're really very much focused on whatever skill they do and on that sort of stuff. But people often overlook the importance of the back office, the bit of the business, that boring bit behind the scenes where you've got to get super organized. There are really two things you need to do in a business, in my mind. The first thing is you need to be able to attract new business and new sales. And the second thing is you need to keep those customers happy. So with Kzen8, although we can't help you with the sales, we're working on that. We have plans. Really what we're going to show you today is how you can really organize the back office of your business so that you can really delight and keep your customers happy. So if we jump across to the next slide, basically, as I said, back office systems, poor back office systems really create a problem for business. And I sort of believe there's this kind of wall And on the left-hand side here is where most of us live. We live in a place where business owners can't take holidays. Everything is painful. And we get to a point where, and I've seen it with businesses I've run in the past, where a new sale comes in and instead of going, yippee, that's exciting, you go, oh God, that's more work. I can't face it any longer. So this is what happens if you've got poor systems. And on the right-hand side is obviously what happens if you can get through that wall. And we believe, and as I'll show you later on, Kzen8 will get businesses through that wall. So if you've got a business, we can help you get through that wall. And if you're a consultant or someone who wants to support businesses, we can help you help businesses get through that wall. And that's how you begin to earn money. Now, as Nick mentioned, you know, the sort of things we're looking at are, you know, traditional back office systems. They only move the wall temporarily. You know, people are forced to use inflexible systems out there, a lot of off-the-shelf systems that force you to run your business in a way that you don't necessarily want to do it. You end up having multiple different systems that just don't talk to each other. And as Nick mentioned, spreadsheet hell is probably the one thing that really is the strongest thing for us. We work with large organizations. We work with Gold Coast hospitals up here on the Gold Coast, part of Queensland Health, 15,000 employees. We're already now the de facto standard within that organization because they have multiple administrative departments, as you can imagine, and the number of spreadsheets they use to do things that they shouldn't really be using spreadsheets for. And I'm talking about things like organizing the operating theatres, managing the ambulance service. Way too many spreadsheets are being used for this type of stuff. And as Nick mentioned, you have all that problem with the guy or the person who built that spreadsheet then becomes the only person who can look after it. Great for job security, not great for the business. And you know, the obvious answer for people is, well, surely I just get stuff built for me that's bespoke. Well, that's becoming really expensive. And if you want to build anything more than a trivial system, you're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars these days to build a proper back office system. So we kind of thought, what can we do about this? And I'm just going to jump back to a bit of background. I mean, that sounds all very good, what I've just talked about. But before I started Kzen8, my wife and I, back in 2015, we started a home care business, a business where we sent people out to people's homes to look after the elderly and disabled people. That business grew from Helen and May sitting in our garage all the way up to 170 staff, 4 offices across 2 states. And we sold that business back in 2023. In fact, almost exactly 2 years ago this week. And the most important thing is, me being the systems guy and also the accountant, I built the system that we used to run that business. We had all our client records in there. We did all our rostering in there. We did all our payroll in there. We did all of our, this is all government money. So we were claiming money from the NDIS, I'm sure you've all heard of. We were claiming money from the department, the department that looks after the aged care department. I can't remember what it's called. Been so long now. Forget all these names, but that was a pretty large business and it grew extremely fast, and even through COVID it still grew, and we sold it. But the key thing is that both Helen and I only worked 5 hours a week in that business because we'd managed to get through that wall and clearly demonstrated to us that you can get through that wall with systems and processes that work well for your business. Now, we started on a spreadsheet just like everyone else did. It's just that within 3 months, we started realizing that the spreadsheet was just not going to work. And that's how we grew that business. And as I say, of those 170 staff, 150 of them were the carers that went out on the road, and they used to use their phones to sign in and out of visits and send back reports on how people were doing and stuff. But none of those people were ever trained in the software, none at all. And so we, we prided ourselves on building this platform, this system that really allowed us to not only make software that normal people can use. And I find a lot of technical businesses, technical companies like, tech startups, techies, and I'll call myself one of them, we think we're very clever and we actually make things more complicated than they need to be. So the beauty of the thing is to make things simple. And so we've kind of taken everything we learned from that company and that software built there, and we've turned that into Kzen8, and we've embedded that in Kzen8 to try and allow people to create systems that help them run their businesses super efficiently. And a bit like, I mean, the accountants among you will know, if you've ever done sort of auditing and stuff, every business thinks they're different, but from a systems point of view, everyone wants the same stuff. They just want to be able to capture information, have it in one place, be able to track the statuses of things, make sure that, you know, everything's being tracked, run trend analysis and reports. It doesn't really matter what type of business you're in, you can actually, they're very, you know, from a systems point of view, they're very similar things. So that's the kind of problem we solved. As I say, it comes out of my own past experience. So I think we're pretty, you know, we kind of, it isn't just a sort of me kind of trying to be clever. I actually, you know, lived this for 10 years or 8 years or so until we solved that business. So I'll get into the solution more, but really, as I said, we at Kzen8, we are a globally scalable technology. Everything we do is completely global. So we have big aspirations to take this platform across the globe. We're getting funding to do all of that at the moment, and so on and so forth. But really there are 3 people. There's Kzen8. We sit there looking after the platform, making sure the platform really delivers what our users need. And then above us are our partners. So these are people who use our platform. They pay us to use it. And we have a consumption-based model, which we'll talk about later, but basically they pay us for how much they use it, which makes it really cost-effective for small businesses, because a small business, as you can imagine, might have a system that has 2 or 3 users, and they go in and out of it every day, but they're not going to use it as much as an organization with 15,000 employees who are all using this thing every day. So we don't bill by like user accounts and silly things like that. A lot of CRM systems out there bill by user accounts, which is kind of stupid because it's kind of, it doesn't mirror. And certainly when our old business, if we were charged, you know, $50 per user or across 170 staff, there's no way we could afford that, because most of our staff would only use a system once or twice a day. So it's just, you know, a lot of the pricing of software is just prohibitively expensive. So our partners pay us a usage fee, but it's a very low usage fee, because the idea is that we want to support our partners to then build those solutions for their clients. So our partners get access to these entirely new revenue streams, and then our end users, they can now get the solutions that they've always wanted. You know, they no longer have to compromise. They can build precisely the systems they want. And we'll get into all that later, but, you know, now they can now run the business how they want to run it. They're not constrained to run it in a certain way because their CRM tells they have to do it that way or whatever. So we'll get into that a bit later, but that just shows you that, you know, we really tried to take this thing and look at it from all angles and make sure that everyone wins. So what is it? It's more than a platform. It's an ecosystem. Yeah. So we're not about just providing the tool to do the building. We're actually an entire ecosystem. So we're designed specifically for non-developers. A lot of the no-code platforms are out there. They actually don't call themselves no-code platforms. They call themselves no-code, low-code, which to me is an oxymoron. You're either no-code or you're low-code. And if you do look around, you'll find that a lot of the platforms out there are just too complicated. People haven't really cracked that, but we're approaching it from the business end, having got the business skills through the accounting and working in businesses ourselves, really understand the needs of business and really understand that in the main, people in business are not as technical as technical people like me would like them to be. So you have to design these things properly. So we have, as I say, this ecosystem, and we'll talk about it. It allows you to build the stuff, but it also allows you to sell it. And it also allows you to host it. So you can create applications in Kzen8. Let's say you're an industry expert in something, you know, in a particular sector. It does not matter what it is. And let's say you've had an idea of a software product or a SaaS solution, some kind of software solution that you want to sell to you know, people in that industry. You know what that industry needs. You've been working in that industry for decades, whatever it may be. Now you get the opportunity to build a proper business solution that within Kzen8, you can just build that once and you can clone it and clone it and clone it and give each of your clients their own physical copy of that solution. And then if you wanted to, you could independently configure each client's solution for them. So you could break out and create this entire, this entire sort of product and revenue stream for yourself that you've never had before. And as I say, you only pay us consumption. So therefore because you understand what you're paying us and you get all the details of what different your clients are charging, you consuming, you can charge your clients appropriately, but it'll be extremely easy. You're looking at us, whatever you charge your clients, you're probably looking at us getting about 20% of that and you keeping about 80% of it, as long as you're charging what should be a reasonable price. There are a couple of kind of phrases that are bandied around at the moment. Citizen development. This is the idea that inside organizations, especially people like Gold Coast hospitals, they're looking to use our platform. They're training their staff to use our platform. So instead of going to build solutions in spreadsheets, they actually come and they start building solutions from the scratch in Kzen8, because they know the spreadsheets are going to get to a point where they're going to start creaking. So why not just invest in a Kzen8 solution? It takes about the same time. You can build applications in just a few weeks. We're building applications for them. And you can build very simple things and you can build complicated things. But typically, a lot of the stuff they're trying to do is relatively simple. It's just that spreadsheets are not a great way of doing it. So citizen development is a kind of phrase that's becoming more popular as organizations are beginning to understand that they just can't use third-party developers. Developers are too expensive, and so on and so forth. So they need to begin to use these types of platforms to kind of bring that skill in-house and put the tools on the desktop of the people who live the problem. So they're the best people to solve the problem. It speeds up the development time. It gets everything done much quicker. And the other kind of trend that you've got going on there is this digital nomad and sort of side hustlers. I'm sure you understand these sorts of terms. They're the kind of people who want to work from home. They want to work on the road. Everything in Kzen8 is all web-based. There's no need to install any software for anyone. The whole thing's done on the web. You just sign up, you start doing it. And in fact, everything on Kzen8 works on your phone, works on a tablet, works on the computer. So any application you build on Kzen8 is immediately available on the phone and tablets and stuff. So, for mobile workforces like we had in our business, it's the perfect solution for that kind of thing. Jumping on, let's just have a look. So, this little grid basically tells you where we sit. Your alternatives are spreadsheets, obviously, off-the-shelf solutions. I'm talking about things like Monday, Trello, can't think of things, Zoho. All these sorts of things are the sort of off-the-shelf solutions. And what you find with them is they're great to a point. And if you want to do anything outside of what they do, then you begin to struggle. Then, of course, in the middle, you've got Kzen8. And then you've got, as I said, these what they call the no code, the low code, and even AI-generated code. AI-generated code is fantastic. It's very powerful, but you still need to be a developer. Because in the same way as if you use ChatGPT to write an email, it does a great job, but you need to check it. And the same with code. If you get AI systems to generate code to build your solution, then you still need to check it. So those are a lot more complex than just using Kzen8. And then your traditional development is when you sort of say to a company, please build me a bespoke platform. That's kind of, and obviously I'm going to say this, but if you go down these kind of things here, to me, I think this is a pretty fair representation of the relative strengths of these different approaches to solving the problem. We jump back a bit to this ecosystem again. We're going to get in and have a little look in Kzen8 in a minute, but I just want to get through some of the stuff. So as I say, we're an ecosystem. This bit here, and we take these citizen development pioneers, these side hustlers and these digital nomads, we throw them through our ecosystem, get them involved, and they come out the other side as code-free creators. Now, as I don't think we've mentioned, but Kzen8 is relatively young. We've been building the platform for 4 years. We've been pretty much beta testing it at Gold Coast hospitals for the last 2 years, and we're beginning to get out there. As I said, we're getting funding pretty soon, and this thing will begin to build some real major momentum. So now is the time to learn the platform. Now is the time to be one of those early adopters, because as we go through the next few slides, you'll begin to see the potential opportunity there is for people in using this platform. So on this slide here, we have the create section. This is the actual platform itself. These are the three different parts. We'll go into it in more detail, but these are the three different parts that you use to actually build the applications and so on and so forth. We have tutorials and workshops. We have free tutorials. It's completely free to learn our platform, and I'll show you this later. You can sign up, you can just start learning the platform and you can start playing. No need to put a credit card in. You can learn it and see if it's for you and all that sort of stuff. We're building up a workshop program gradually, so everything you can learn the platform 100% by yourself with your tutorials, but if you want a bit of a kickstart, we're building up sort of different levels of workshops. And then this sort of collaborate and support bit, we call it Hero, the collaboration platform, because as I said, our key value is be the guide, not the hero. So this is a collaboration platform. So this is going to become the really, really, really large part of the platform, is this idea that we want you to all, or the people using the platform, to all talk to each other and all communicate with each other and work together to solve problems together. And so we want to find people who've got the clients and put them together with the people with the technical skill to solve business problems. There are going to be places for you to find Kzen8ers, as we call them, or places for Kzen8ers to find projects. And there'll be ways to manage those projects together. There'll be ways to support each other. And we have gamified effectively the entire platform. So as we go on, we'll show you a little bit of that. But the more you get knowledge in the platform, the more opportunity there is to you make more money from the platform. And we'll get into that now in a second. So that's kind of the overview. So if we look at the kind of journey, so the partner journey, so these are the people who are trying to earn income as a co-creator. There's really three stages, and we have deployed pretty much stages 1 and 2. Stage 3 is, as I say, we've got a big long plan of all this sort of stuff, and this stuff is all in development. But ultimately, if you sat down and you began to learn the platform, either by using our workshops or getting in those tutorials, I guarantee you that pretty quickly, if you're able to learn the platform, you will be able to see opportunities in there that'll earn you easily thousands of dollars a month, easily. Then when you get a little bit further down and you start getting into accreditations where you start getting badges and stuff, as I said, we gamify the whole thing. So you're going to have a profile. It's going to show you, what skills you've got, and then people are going to be searching for certain skills. As you do all of this, you're going to be kind of increasing your profile within the application, and you're going to be building more and more complicated applications for clients. And this is where kind of I personally am at the moment in the platform. And at the moment, on about 30 hours a week, I'm earning at least 50,000 a month at the moment, just from building applications for various clients. And on a 30 hours, to be honest with you, is a bit too much for me. I kind of like to do less, but that's that's the kind of level we're at, and that is not difficult for me to service that level of clients and generate that kind of income, because I'm able to deliver solutions so quickly to them. I'm able to generate about 50,000 a month at the moment. And then we're trying to say this is a journey. So if you start this it might take you 6 months to really get to this sort of mastery point, and then from then on you're really earning a couple of thousand a month, a few more thousand a month, and so on and so forth. And as you keep going up, eventually you're going to get to a point where you're going to have so much work, you're going to have to grow your team, and then you really can begin to go up here. And we have white labeling options, so you can turn Kzen8 into your own no-code platform. You can actually extend it and add your own functionality. So you can have a version of Kzen8 specifically for mining companies or specifically for restaurants. This is all stuff that's coming. This is stuff we're playing with Queensland Health at the moment. They have their own copy of Kzen8. They're using it internally to create applications for themselves. And then you can actually become a hoster, hosting other people's applications. So when I say you're earning over 100,000 a month, that seems like a crazy idea. But the reality is, and you're probably 3 years down on your journey, but in that, if you really took it to its extreme, this is where you could get to in just a few years. Now, let's just go on and look at it from the other side. For the end users, there's really two choices. You either learn the platform and do it yourself. So these are the businesses that want to build the dream back office. So they have two choices. They can do it themselves, or they can get us or a partner to do it for them. So if they do it themselves, then they go through the same process. They do some tutorials, they learn some workshops, and so on and so forth. We have these are the kind of the prices we charge for these services. And we have companies that we're mentoring. So that means we're working with the company to build a specific solution for that company, but we're training them how to do it. Why? Because one of the big problems with software companies is they're all very nice to you when they're building your solution, but 2-3 years down the line, when you want to make a change, all of a sudden it's very expensive and it's costing, it becomes really expensive. So by mentoring these people, and you may help build the application for them and mentor them through that, but by giving them the skills to look after the application, they're saving themselves a huge amount of money in the long term. So that's kind of the do-it-self part. Obviously, this side, there's really 3 parts. We do build solutions for people. We do build some solutions for Gold Coast hospitals and so on and so forth. But typically, we build and mentor at the same time. We do a lot of design work. So we do a lot of workshops to try and work out what it is they want and spec stuff out. And we do project management. We do ongoing support. So all of these sorts of things, we kind of mix and match with our clients. Why am I telling you this? It's simply because our dream is that all of those things that we do for the end clients, ultimately, we want our community to do. And the whole system is set up, as I was talking about collaboration. So, professional partners actually, by being in our community and helping people with support, we track all that participation, and we actually give back the money that we get for support back to those community in proportion to who helps out. So you can make money from just being in our community and supporting other people with their questions. You can make money by becoming an accredited trainer. So you actually run your own workshops, or you design your own training courses. We don't mind. We just want to provide the platform. We want our partners to be able to learn, to teach people, to mentor people here, build solutions for people. And ultimately what we're going to be doing is people come to us. We don't want to build solutions for people. People will come to us and we'll feed and saying, I need someone to build me a this or a that. And we'll just feed that into the collaboration kind of portal type thing, and we'll sort of say, anyone want to build this? Anyone want to get involved in that? And so, we'll make those introductions. And ultimately, there'll be people who don't want to learn the platform, but will have the clients and want to project manage, but they want to come along, bring those projects to the platform, build a team to build it whilst they project manage them. So many different ways. But yes, our goal is that 100% of all those end user services are delivered by our partner network. So ultimately, learning the platform now in the early days is going to mean you'll be one of the first trainers, one of the first mentors. The opportunity for people to generate revenue from this is insane. I want to just jump in now and actually show you some Kzen8. Why not? Show you how you get started. Let's go in. So hopefully you understand, big problem, $5 trillion problem. We think we've got a solution. We're doing it through this community. We're doing it through businesses working together, being able to collaborate to solve bigger problems than they might be able to do themselves. That's a big part of it. And providing this tool that is so easy to use that anyone can do it. So how do we get into there? Let's show you a bit of stuff, and I'll show you a little CRM system we've built that you can download, you can start playing with for free. You could even start using it in your own business if that's what you want to do. But if you just go to hub.kzen8.com, that takes you straight to this place here. You click on create account, you start putting your details in there, and then you just make sure you put Nick Cree in here, and that'll just sign you up. As I say, that's all you need to do. You don't need to put your credit card details in. Once you create that account, it's going to send you an email and ask you to put in a code, and then it's going to ask you to reset your password and stuff. And once you've done all of that, you're going to then come back to the sign in. I'm just going to sign in here as a user. I'm just going to sign in, and you get a screen that looks a bit like this. And very simply, it just has start here. If you click on start here, you will see that there are basically tutorials embedded in this platform. So you can click on each of these tutorials, and it's just an entire series of YouTube videos that we've recorded. In the start here, there are 4 videos that just get you started. In this first one, we take you through building an entire application in about 30, 40 minutes. So we take you through that whole process, and then we build up some stuff. If you then go into my account, what you will find is that those first 4 tutorials you saw, we just did this quick start bit. Then there's level 2, and then there's level 3 and level 4. All of these videos are completely free, and there are 12 videos in that level, and you just work through these bit by bit. And as we go through these, we're building an application, and you can, you know, go in and follow along with us. And eventually you get down to level 5, and this requires a professional subscription. You can still watch the videos, but to actually use this functionality, you will need a professional subscription. But I'm telling you now, if you just were to play around with, there's nothing, you could build perfectly good commercial applications with levels 1 to 4. Down here is just some of the other sort of whiz-bangy stuff we do, you know, around integrations, data visualization and processing that a lot of you won't ever need in your simple applications. On the right-hand side here are what we call blueprints. And we're going to show you this. We built a little blueprint. That's just basically a little starter app. And if you go in here, you'll notice that every blueprint, and we only got the one at the moment, we will do more, has a little demo video and then a technical video. So the demo video will show you a demo of it, and the technical video will actually go into some of the details of how we built it. So that's a really good way to get started. We're actually going to open that up and show you that in a minute, and perhaps make a couple of changes just to show you how easy it is. So that, you know, everything you need is in here. And as I said earlier, gamification, don't worry about this too much. But when you go in here, it's a bit like a game. You unlock these things as you go through. You can unlock discounts. You can unlock referral rewards. You know, if you refer people to the platform, they get a link to you, and then you start receiving a percentage of their expenditure with us, and so on and so forth. So you can kind of get additional discounts off your bill, and then you get credits for referrals, and then you can use those credits to further reduce your bills. So actually, if you can refer people, if you know people who you want to refer, you literally can unlock some of the stuff, the later levels, completely free. There's no, you'll never end up paying anything for us with us, you know, if you're referring enough people. So we kind of wanted to make that possibility for people. You know, you'd have to refer a reasonable amount of people, and they'd have to use our platform, and they'd have to pay us money to use our platform. But you know, you will make pretty good money. It's only a one-level thing. It's not a multi-level marketing thing. Just the people you refer, you get a percentage of whatever they pay us, and that's all automatically calculated for you. But if we just run down here and go to applications, what you need to know about applications is, as I say, you do not need to put your credit card into this system at all until you want to create your own real life applications. And you do that in this area called My Domains. Don't need to worry about that. What you need to know about now is this sandbox area, this thing called Kzen8. This is where you can create as many applications as you want for completely free. The only rule is after 30 days, they're just going to get deleted. So don't create anything here that you want to keep. You can create applications in here, and then if you do want to keep them, you go into My Domains, you add a domain, and you can then move them from Kzen8 into one of your domains. So if there is something, you know, but Kzen8 is a fantastic place to just begin to learn the platform. And the way you create an application is just fill in the forms. Red boxes you need to fill in, green boxes you don't need to. So let's say, for example, we're going to use that blueprint. I've already created one down here, but obviously you give it a name. So let's call it CRM. This has to be globally unique. So you probably want to put something like that in, something silly. Then you choose where you want it hosted. Again, we're only in Sydney at the moment, but you know, this list will increase. You choose a culture, you choose your default time zone. You perhaps put a, you know, every application needs at least one user. So we might do something like that. And then you would go, right, clone the blueprint that I want. So you clone the blueprint. If I don't want to clone, it'll just create a completely blank application. But we're just going to clone this one, and I click submit. I'm not going to do it because otherwise we'd have to wait. It probably takes about 30 seconds to a minute to do. But once it's done, it'll come up like this. I did this one earlier today. You click on that. And now here's some basic information. There's sort of the information we created. And then from here, you can now go to Kzen Lab, which is where we design the application, and Kzen Nexus, which is where we play the application. So if I just go into Nexus here, basically what that does is it takes us to this little sign-in screen, and you can see it says kzenplay.crm test. And if I now go tutorial, whoops, can't type, and sign in there, what you find is this is my application. So as I say, we use the blueprint. So this application has got a little area here where we can add organizations. So we've created a really simple CRM tool, which you can just clone yourself and start using. Now I added it, when you first open it up, there's nothing in here, there's no organizations. So I added a couple of organizations. So you can see in here, I've got a website, a name, a website, when it was created and when it was last updated. If I click on this one, you can click in here, I can update these details, and I can, add contacts. And over here, I can create little opportunities. Okay. And so you can do little things like this becomes a link. So if I click on this, it opens up my website. So you can create forms in Kzen8 to capture this data. And these little white boxes are called widgets. So we jump, we can, this details widget here, which shows the details of the company. We then have this context widget, which is a list of contacts. And as I say, every box is either red or green. So this was a hangover from my last business. As I said, we wanted to make the system really easy to use. And I don't understand why a lot of websites and systems make you fill in a form and submit the form and then tell you what you did wrong. Why not tell you up front what needs to be filled in? So it's little things like that. So by doing that, I now know if that form will be fine. Actually has got some extra validation. We have to put either a phone or a number or an email address. And once I've done that, it takes me straight to that person, and then it links me there, and I can add notes and stuff. So let's just talk through the functionality. That's the sort of basic overview. So an organization has contacts, and it also has opportunities. If you can add opportunities by clicking add there, you can add contacts by clicking add there. If I click on a contact, I go to the contact screen, and now I can see all the opportunities linked to that contact. I can add notes in here, and so on and so forth. And if I go to an opportunity, I can add more notes, and I can upload files. So here's, for example, might be the quote that for this opportunity. I can see that it's $1,000, whatever it might be. And if I click on that, it'll actually show me the file, or I can download the file, and so on and so forth. I can upload new files, select a file, go, I don't know, where's this? Just do that. Boom, upload, uploads the file. So, we can build all this stuff up. And how do we do this? Well, we basically have a load of tables. I'm running out of time. No, I've got enough time. I just want to jump across to the designer. So I think you got the idea. There's a basic little CRM system. Have a play around with it. As I say, in this might start here section, go into this bit here if you want to, once you've got an account. Watch this little demo. That'll show you a bit more. But I just wanted to show you how we actually design it. So if we go back to applications, back to Kzen Play, click on the application, and then go to the lab here. That'll take us to the lab. And again, that just takes us here. We just use the same username and password for that. So the way the lab works, as you can see, this just looks like another Kzen8 application. We've got a toggle between dark mode and light mode. And if I just leave that in light mode, it looks very similar to the application. Now you can theme and brand all this stuff. Obviously, that's beyond the scope of this discussion, but we can, put your own logo in here, change a lot of these colors, make it look more like how you want it. But even our designer is just another application. So if we go back to organizations and we look at these two organizations here, Kzen8 and Google, let's say, for example, we wanted to add another little field here that just marked a organization as a sort of priority one. So what you do is you go to data, you go to tables. There are the three tables: organizations, contacts, and opportunities. I go into the table, I go to attributes. I might go something like is key. Again, don't worry about what we're doing. I'm just going to set this as a Boolean. So that's a sort of thing that requires a true or false. And I'm just going to go is key here, question mark, something like that. I'm just going to do this, and I'm just going to do false. So don't worry about what I'm doing too much, but I'm basically just setting up a new attribute on the organization table. I then need to sync the table. That's just something I need to do, because once you've done a new attribute, it needs to do a bit of work. It's done that. Now, as I said, that doesn't come up on this form yet, because what we've done is we've added it to the table. Now we need to go to the interface. We find, as I said, each of these white boxes is a widget. We need to find this widget. And it just so happens that that widget is called the organization details widget. So if I just type in here details, I can just go, here we go, organization details widget. So there's a bit of stuff here. If I click on content, you can now see there's lots of options here. But let's just say I now want to add that into the, so when I update this, I want to be able to add in that is key. So I'm literally going to go plus is key, submit. That's all I needed to do. And now if I refresh this page and click update, I now have is key. If I click that to yes, that's great, but I can't see it there. So if I go up to this section, I can now go add is key here, and then I can do something like this, tick and cross. And now all of a sudden, I can see that it's key, it's got a tick. I can update it and say yes and no. And that's fantastic, that's all great. And then I go back to here and I go, wouldn't it be good if I could see it in here? So now I need to find this widget. So let's go back to the interface, to the widgets, and I just know that that's called something list. So that's going to be called opportunity list. And in here, I can go down here and go, well, in here, let's just, let's think about it. Let's just put this in here somewhere and just put is key here. Oops, I'm not in the organization, am I? I've gone to the wrong place. I've gone to the opportunity list. What a silly guy. Organization list, where are you? Here we are. Go to content here. And what we do is we just add another row here and we put is key in there and I go tick across there like that. And without, very quickly, we can see those and they've been added in there. And if I now go update and change that to yes and go back to here, I can see that's a key account and this is not a key account. I don't know, I think I'm probably running out of time, aren't I, Nick? Hello? Where are you, Nick?
I'm just looking for that mute button that is ever elusive. No, you're going well. You've got about 15 minutes or so.
Oh, more time. Sorry, I thought I was going for half an hour. Okay, that's cool. So I'm just going to make a few more changes then. That's cool. If that's what we're at. So the other thing that you can do is these little labels. So just to sort of show you again how easy it is, we go back into the lab here, and if we go back to that other widget, the details widget. And notice I'm not writing any code. I'm just changing settings on the thing. And at the end of the day, what you'll find is a lot of these things are very repetitive. So you'll find that, you know, different widgets have a very similar design. So there's a kind of a little bit of a hump you need to get over. And once you've got over that hump, you'll be flying around this interface like a crazy person, being able to do anything you want. So now what we can do is we can go in here and we can add a little label, for example. And what that does, let's just go like this and go key client or something like that. Yeah. And what we can do here is go something like this. Let's make it a massive warning. So that'll make it come up in orange. And it's going to go key client. But we only want to show that. And we can now start doing little things when the is key equals true. So now save changes. And all I need to do is go back to I'm just toggling between the lab, which is where we design, and the next is where we play. If I refresh this, you can now see this one says key client here. But if I go back to the other one, it doesn't say key client there. And you go, that's nice, but I would like to see these labels on this widget. So again, you just literally go back to that widget, which is the list widget. And this time I will try and remember to click the right one. Organization list, and we go in here and we can go down to labels here and we don't have to create it all over again. All we have to do now is just go, oops, copy from another widget. It understands the structure, so it understands that it's going to copy from another widget that shows organization details. That's then going to put that in there. Didn't have to do anything at all. Click refresh. Now it can see which ones are the key clients and which ones aren't. I can then even go even further. I can begin to do things like, now I'm in this list widget, let's just add a little filter button. So let's just do key. Yes, and what that does, we can say, right, and then let's just add an is. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to put in is key, whoops, just give it a label, key, and is key there. If I click submit there, now all I need to do here is say, when I click this button, it'll make sense in a minute, but when I click this button, then I only want it where is key equals true. So now, save those changes, if I now refresh this screen, I now have this little thing here. So this shows me all of them. If I just want to show the is key ones, all, is key, all, so on and so forth. And what you'll notice, if I just click on is key and I've selected that there, and I then go into that one, and then I go back, it remembers my selection. So let's say I have is key. I mean, obviously, if I went Fred, this would disappear. But if I put in KZ, KZ, for example, then that will show up. And when I go into it, and then go back, it remembers my search, it remembers my settings. So you can have really complex sort and filtering going on here in searching, and to filter down this list of organizations if you've got thousands of them. And as you click in, you see, you can see that, and when you go back, it takes you back to where you were before. Now let me show you a couple of other fun things. If I go to, where is it? Oh, I don't know how to do it from the menu. I'm just going to press F12. F12. So this is the developer tools. And if we just go like this, and then we go like, this is what it would look like on a mobile phone. Okay. So let's just go back here and back and back and back. Let's just go back to the menu. Sorry, where am I going? Back, back, back. I think I've gone back a few ways, haven't I? Let's just, where am I going? Let's just turn that off for a second. I'm getting a bit mental. Go home, now go into the menu. So as I said, everything should work perfectly on the phone. If we click on organizations here, I can see the organizations. It's laid it out a bit different, but ultimately it's still, it's still available in there. Let's just get rid of this horrible part of the screen. Can't see where to put that. I think I can do something like, there we go. If I take that out and just get rid of that so you can see it a bit better. So yeah, you can kind of see that the application still works. If you click on that one, it takes you in there. All these buttons still work. I can still update things. I've still got all my forms here. I can still do all of that sort of stuff. I can do everything here. And you'll find on your phone, for example, if you're in the opportunities section and you've got a opportunity and then you've got a file, it won't do it on this browser, but if you're running this on your phone and you click that button, it would actually open up the camera on your phone automatically. So you could take a picture of something and scan stuff and do all that sort of stuff. So as I say, it's a very simple application. There's not a lot to it, but it's a really good way to begin to understand how you can just build a few tables in here, put the stuff you need, and then begin to build your menus and what we call layout. So what we call a layout, a whole page is a layout. So as I said, if in here, this whole thing's a layout, and then it has 3 widgets. So if we look at what that layout looks like, which is the opportunity details layout, you'll see we kind of do things in rows. So we have one row with the details, and then a second row, which is split 50-50. This one's 100% width. This one's split 50-50. So we've got notes, and then we've got files. So if we go in here, we've got notes and files. But if we go back to organization and we get on one of these, we might go, oh, I haven't got no notes. I can't add notes to the organization. So what you might want to do is you might want to go into the interface, into the layouts, find the organization list widget layout, which is this one, and go, no, that's not the right one. Sorry, organization details. Dang mad. Organization details. So again, similar thing, one full width thing and this split thing. So that's like that. But let's just do something a bit different. So what I can do here is I can update this. I'm going to drag this one into here and I'm going to click Save Changes. That is going to put that one underneath that one. So opportunities now falls on. So in here, I want to put a notes widget. Really easy to do. All we do is we go to the interface, we go to widgets, we add a widget, and we go organization notes. Notes. Don't worry about all that. And I flick down here, we've got different types of widgets. So we're just going to pick a notes widget, and it's for an organization. As I say, don't need to click anything else because they're all green. I could fill these in, but I'll just use the defaults. And that becomes organization notes. Now, if I just go into that, I can pretty much go in here and I can see lots of options here. I'm not going to change any of them. I'm just going to leave them exactly as they are. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to this layout. organization details, and we're going to update this. And in this row that's currently empty, we're just going to add the widget, which is what was it called? Organization notes. Let's do that. Click save. All of a sudden, go back to my application, bang. I've now got an entire new widget, and I can now add notes to this widget, and I can add notes to this organization, and it automatically knows that these notes relate to this organization. If I go to the other organization, there are no notes associated with that. So we've just added an entire note facility to the organization part of the application just by literally adding another widget directly to the screen. So I hope you get the idea in general. I think I'm kind of done. I want to leave some time for questions. I know there's a lot of questions coming through. And yeah, I think I've been going for a good 45, 50 minutes. So I think that's probably enough, Nick, if that's all right with you.
That sounds good as gold. Excellent. So that's given a really good rundown on what's possible there. Well, I think it's only just scratching the surface, right?
Oh God, absolutely. I mean, as I say, all we've shown you is just how to add stuff through forms and how to put a few labels in. What you get into is the whole event-driven thing. So as you add a new customer, that might send an email to someone. You know, we've got versions of this system which will generate quotes for you. So you fill in some information, it generates a proposal in Word, turns that into a PDF, sends that off to DocuSign, gets it signed by the client, and when it's signed by the client, it comes all the way back. I mean, I might literally just for a bit of fun just show you the sort of system we use internally. Let's just do that quickly. Hero.dev, I think is probably what it's called. So this is a system we have internally that just begins to do, we've got a lot more stuff going on here, but if I was to jump in here and go to sales, and I was just going to go, perhaps this is a bit too impromptu for me, isn't it? Probably something like demo. Here we go. If I go to demo here and I go to projects, so you can begin to see here, we have full costings of this project. We know how much we've used. We've got checklists going on. We've got PDFs that have been stuff. We've got, this is one that's been signed. So if I go into the proposal section, I can literally generate the proposal. If I view this proposal, it actually generates a full proposal. It brings in all that information from the screen. It brings in all these costs, has a signature page. And then, you know, as I said, I think I've turned it off, but you know, once you've generated the proposal, you then click another button. It sends it to what's it called? DocuSign, as I said. And this is actually what comes back from DocuSign. You get a zip file with the signed document, but in that zip file is also what they call the metadata. So you have all the legal information to know that that document has been properly signed by DocuSign. So that's kind of all the sort of stuff. And within here, I mean, without going into any details, you can see we've got a lot more going on here that I showed you before. There's a lot more information. There's a lot of task management. There's a lot of things going on. And as we click on various things, we're triggering other things to happen. So you can get really very sophisticated with this. Yes.
Excellent. All right. Any questions, feedback, comments? I'm just having a look through chat to see what is in there. Oh, there is one question here from Kel. Is this similar to Bolt, but with a whole new level, with no code solution?
I don't know what Bolt is. I think, is that an AI generated code thing, or is that something else? Let's have a look.
Yeah, so Bolt is it's a code generating. You can build apps and all that type of stuff. There it is. There.
Yeah, so it's that's the movie. I don't mean
no, that's Bolt the movie.
Yeah, so I do know people of you. No, that's Bolt.
Oh, no, it's the next one down.
Bolt.new. Is that what I'm looking for?
That's all. Yep.
Yeah, so I actually got a friend who uses this, and it is very, very powerful, but it falls in that camp again of it generates code. So it's not, it's for developers. And that's not, I have no issue with that. But as I say, what we're trying to do is build something that's not for developers, something that is usable by people who are not developers, deliberately so. And we like to call ourselves, therefore, a true no-code platform. But no, I've seen people do amazing things with Bolt, actually.
I'll have a chat with you soon.
Good man.
Excellent. Any other questions or comments, or maybe how can you see you could use it for your business or some of your clients?
Nick, are you there?
Yes. Hey, Paul.
Yeah, hi, Nick. Good day, and hello, Huw.
Thank
You just, can you tell us a little bit about the pricing in terms of the CRM in particular? I have a large number of contacts, like 10,000, and I'm currently on Zoho. Can you just tell us how your pricing works? Are there limitations or restrictions around the number of contacts you can put into the CRM?
So if you were to build a CRM, perhaps starting with that blueprint, first of all, you to build it how you want to build it. If we just go to, if you go to my website, Kzen8.com, basically there is a pricing section here. So as I say, everything's free until you become that professional Kzen8er. But in terms of hosting, what we do is we charge $40 per month, Australian dollars, for an application. So you saw when we were in Hub, we actually have this concept called domains. So you actually can create multiple applications within a domain. So what we do is we actually, it's $40 per month per application. And then that gives you 5 users, a gigabyte of this and a 50 megs. This is a huge amount of actually processing, 10 hours. I mean, every time you see the spinner, that's processing. Every time, and the processing is like milliseconds each time. So to get to 10 hours in a month, you would be seriously, you'd be doing a lot. So it really is of no interest how many contacts you got. I know some CRMs charge by that. So that would fall into database storage where you got a gigabyte, you know, that you're not going to be even close. You're going to be a few megs. The idea is that this is what we charge you for $40. And then if you go over any of these, we track all of these things. And so if you go over 5 users, for every user over 5, it's $2 each. But we, as I say, we average it. So if you were, you know, and this is also, remember, this is active users. So you might have 100 users in your system, but if 20 people are the only people using it, you only get charged for the 20. So we track everything you do in that sense. We track how many users have signed in every day. We track how much data space storage you're using, cache storage, file storage, how much processing you're doing. Every single thing you do, we track it all. And we base it on this basis. But I think you'll find a CRM for you and 2 or 3 of your colleagues using it on a daily basis that you've built yourself would probably easily fall within the $40 a month. And the most you would pay would be $100 tops for, you know, across all of you. And it would creep up really slowly after that. And it wouldn't really matter, you know, how many users you've got and so on and so forth.
Nor how many contacts are them. So
no,
thank you for that.
Wouldn't care. Don't care. That all falls within database storage.
Yep, thank you.
And as I say, 1 gigabyte will be, well, even the largest application at Queensland Health we do is still only, you know, a few tens of megabytes. So nothing.
All right. Any other questions, comments? We've got time for about 30 seconds. All right. Well, if that's it, what we will do is, should we drop the link into chat, Huw, for people to have a look at it?
Yes, absolutely. As I said, sign up for free on Hub. And are you going to talk about the prize draw and the prize?
Yes. So if you do that, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah. So if you sign up for Hub and whoever wins the prize draw, we can give you $100 worth of credits. So 1 credit equals 10 cents. So we give you 1,000 credits, and you can either use that to pay for the hosting fees, or you can use it to pay for professional subscription fees if that's what you want. But I don't think you need the professional subscription fees. So, you know, you could definitely do that. So $100 would give you certainly a couple of extra months, 2.5 months worth of extra CRM if that's what you wanted. But certainly just using the CRM in Kzen Play, just have a play around with it, see if you want to add a few more fields yourself, play around with stuff. That's all totally free, but remember it deletes it after 30 days. So don't start loading in those thousands of contacts.
Excellent. So we will draw that in the draw coming up just in a minute. So don't go away. You've also got a session coming up as well too. Do you want to talk about that?
Yes. So yeah, we're going to go into a lot more detail on all this stuff. So next Tuesday we have got another free webinar where we'll kind of go over some of what we talked about today and probably go into a bit more detail in certain areas. So come along to that if you found I was talking too fast, or you just want to get a refresher, or you want to bring someone along who you think might be interested. It's totally free. And then in there, we'll start talking to you about the other there are going to be additional workshops that will be paid that will accelerate your journey if that's something you want to do, but they're always going to be available. So yeah, if you want to know more, there's going to be a link to that, which is just sign up, register, and come along on, I think it's Tuesday afternoon next week, something like that.
Fabulous. So we've got that link in chat. So if you're interested in that, definitely well worth going along to it. But the link is in chat, which probably a good time to save the chat as well. So I've got the link to the Kzen8 platform in there. We've got a link to that webinar that Huw's running, and also to all the online apps. If you're not sure where to save it, if you have a look at the top right-hand side of chat, there are 3 little dots. If you click on that, there's an option there to save the chat. And as soon as you've saved it, it'll tell you where it's saved. It. Just click on the link. It'll just open it up for you, so you don't have to go hunting for it in your computer. All right, well, let's head through to the prize draw. We have a special way of doing it, which is our wheel of names. So let's bring that up. And this is for the $100 worth of credit on the Kzen8 platform. So you do need to sign up for an account, which is all free, no credit card required. But you can have a play, and then you've got those credits there to be able to play with as well too. So everybody's name is in this wheel of names. Just remember, you have to be in the room to win it. So if you disappear now, we are bound to draw your name out, and we will just redraw it and let you know that that was the case. So stick around. Let's spin that wheel and see who our lucky winner is tonight. The virtual drum roll. And we have Pete D. How are you, Pete? Are you there? Just check and see if he's actually in the room. You can see Pete.
Yes, I am here. Yep.
Fabulous. So you're not puffed, are you? So it sounded like you're running.
I am puffed because I'm trying to do the cleaning the bathroom.
Excellent. Well, you're the lucky winner of this, Pete. So congratulations. We'll organised to connect you and Huw tomorrow by email. So look out in your email, and then can organise that credit for you.
Thank you so much, Nick.
Fabulous. Excellent. Well, that's our show for tonight. Thanks, Huw, for coming along and giving us a fairly extensive demo into it. Yes, it was a bit like a fire hose, but there's so much in it. If you would like to see it again, or you missed something, it is going to be up on our YouTube channel, the Smash Go YouTube channel, tomorrow afternoon. Those links are in chat too, so you can go and click those 3 little dots, save the chat again. It will save it to that same file that you've got, and you can go through it. Sometimes I speed things up to get through it quicker. This one you might need to do it half speed so that you can sort of follow it along. We'll be back here again next week as well with another topic. So if you want to register for that, the link, I think, let's throw that link into chat as well too. It may or may not be up there, but we'll shoot out an email to you anyway with that session as well. So thanks everyone for coming along tonight. Look forward to seeing you again next week. Thanks Huw for your time, and hopefully we'll see some of you on that workshop as well too. Have a good night.
Thank you for tuning in and listening to the Business Owners Smashing It Online podcast. You can also find me on social media and online. Just search for Business Owners Smashing It Online and Nick Cree, spelled Nikree, all one word. If you like this and want to hear more, subscribe now. Until next time, don't be a slave to your business. Get your business working for you.